Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Yulia Sobko. I'm a career consultant in the University Career Center, and today I'll provide the overview of the interview preparation. Let's start with our agenda for today. Today, we will discuss interview process, what to do before, during, and after the interview formats, AI-powered interviews, how to dress, types of interview questions, including traditional, behavioral, case, technical, and brain teasers, decoding interview questions, and 10 easy-to-make job interview mistakes. Quick facts. Face-to-face interviews last on average 40 minutes. On average, interviews run for 40 minutes, but the typical interview ranges from between 30 and 90 minutes. Job seekers typically hear back from the company within 24 hours to 2 weeks. The first minute and a half of a job interview are the most important. Approximately 33% of interviewers decide whether or not they want to hire a candidate during the first 90 seconds of a job interview. The average interview process for a single job takes 27.5 days in the United States. Job seekers can expect the average company's interview process to take just under 1 month, from submitting an application to possibly receiving a job offer. And best practices. If you have your job interview scheduled, congratulations. Preparation is very important. Take some time to prepare for each interview. Practice answers to common questions. Understand the types of interviews and the questions that you might be asked. Develop several go-to stories that you can share in your interview, which will highlight specific skills and competencies that you have. And it's very important to research yourself, including your skills, knowledge, traits, strength. Research the position using the job description as your guide, and researching the organization, including their About Us section on their website, their social media, LinkedIn, and their articles about the company. And schedule a mock interview with the University Career Center via Handshake to practice your interviewing skills and receive feedback. Interview process. Before the interview, it's very important to research the company. It's crucial to understand the key information about the company that you're interviewing with. Use the company's website, social media posts, and recent press releases to get a solid understanding of the company's mission, vision, and goals. Why do you want to work here? This is one of the most common questions, and it's crucial to be able to answer that question effectively. Find information of this organization using Career One Stop, Glassdoor, LinkedIn, and other websites. Review the organization's website as well to find information about the project that they work with and the products that they possibly develop. Locate press releases, articles, and other publications about that company. Use LinkedIn to find and connect with alumni who work at this organization and reach out to them for informational interviews. Practice your interviewing skills. While questions may vary depending on the job or the industry, most job interviews, they still involve an exchange of common interview questions and answers, such as, tell me about yourself, why do you want to work here, why are you interested in this position, what are strengths and weaknesses. To prepare, you can write out potential answers and then record yourself answering those questions. University Career Center is also here for you to help with those interview preparation processes. And for that, you can schedule a mock interview with us to practice interviewing. And review the job description. Make sure that you reread the job description and can communicate why you would be the best fit for this position. You should use your job description as a guide. The job description is a list of qualifications, qualities, and background that the employer is looking for. So you need to have an understanding of each responsibility or the topic listed on the job description. The more you can align yourself with these details, the more the employer will be able to see that you're well qualified. The job description may also give you ideas about the questions that they might ask during the interview. Also, it's important to be on time, arrive at least 10 to 15 minutes early, be friendly and polite to all staff members, make sure that you turn off the mobile notifications, and bring several copies of your resumes if it's in-person interview. During the interview, it's important to listen carefully to the interviewer. Make sure that you answer the questions that they are asking and relate your skills, accomplishments, and objectives to the needs of the company. You can provide specific examples when possible using the STAR method, which stands for situation, task, action, results, and I'll talk more about that soon. And focus on the positive aspects of your training and experience. You don't have to apologize for any perceived lack of experience or background. And also observe the people in the office space to get a sense of the company's culture. Also, make sure that you're mindful of body language. Your posture can convey confidence or insecurity, so sit up straight and send a message that you are comfortable and confident. Maintain eye contact with your interviewers in the room. If you focus only on one person, then you will not engage other interviewers. So make sure that you maintain eye contact. Hands, make sure that you use hands to express yourself in moderation and avoid fidgeting. And language, be clear and direct. Avoid the use of filler words such as like, or between the phrases or sentences. Don't ramble. If you have to stop and you finish making your point, stop. Silence is acceptable. And after the interview, you will need to send a tailored thank you note to the hiring manager and reaffirm your interest. Express thank you and politely ask for feedback if you are not selected for the next step. And get comfortable waiting and don't give up. Rejections are part of the process. Next section is interview formats, and we will start with the phone screen. Typically, a phone screen or initial interview, typically it takes 15 to 60 minutes. This is typically a one-on-one conversation to understand your interests, clarify qualifications, and occasionally discuss salary expectations. Tips for success: arrange for a quiet space at a table with strong cell phone reception. Ensure that your phone is fully charged. You will also need to know if you're calling them or they're calling you. Have a copy of your resume and the questions to ask during the interview, and also a pen and paper nearby. Dress like you would for an in-person interview to help project a confident voice, and listen carefully. It takes extra attention to focus on the call, so avoid distractions and definitely listen carefully to the questions that you are getting asked. Recorded video or time test. Typically, this is a 30 to 60 minutes self-directed assessment of interest, skills, and personality. Tips for success: get comfortable talking out loud and focusing on your laptop camera. Set up your camera at eye level. Consider the lighting in the background. Make sure that you don't have any distractions. Review instructions and listen to prompts carefully. Sometimes you only have one prompt to answer the question, sometimes you have several. Ensure your laptop is fully charged and your interest connection is strong and steady. Video chat. Often used to save employers time and money, and video chats interviews typically they take 30 to 60 minutes in length. They may be one-on-one or multi-party. Some tips for success: again, arrange for a quiet space at a table or a desk. Use a laptop, tablet, or desktop, but not a cell phone. Ensure that your device is fully charged and you have a stable internet connection. Review the instructions for the interview and download or install necessary apps ahead of time, for example, Teams or Zoom. Consider your background, make sure there are no distractions. Position the computer and yourself so you're looking straight at the camera, not up or down of the screen. Get comfortable talking out loud to your computer's camera, and have your resume and questions ready so you can utilize that during the interview. And maintain your focus. Your every move can be seen. And in-person interviews. Those are typically from 30 minutes to a full day. So some of the considerations for you is what to wear, and we will talk more about that soon. A business suit is the most common attire, but also depending on the industry or site, you might wear business casual attire or need special clothing, for example, lab coat. What to bring? You will want to bring a portfolio with your printed copies of your resume, notepad, pen, and questions to ask. You will also need to have name, contact information of the person that you're meeting with, and your photo ID. What to do? Arrive early, anticipate a security screening. Turn off your phone, make sure there are no notifications. Greet everyone politely and professionally. Stay energized, especially if you have back-to-back interviews. Observe workplace setup, the culture of the company and the staff. And then the next question for you: how many companies are using AI tools somewhere within their hiring plans? Studies show that 99% of Fortune 500 companies had AI tools somewhere within their hiring plans, which means that it's very important to be ready for those. Tips for AI-powered interview success. For AI interviews, it's important to understand that it's easy to learn how to work with those interviews. AI-powered interviews, they are quickly growing in popularity due to their ability to save employers time and money. The good news is that you don't have to learn all the ins and outs about the artificial intelligence to succeed in your next AI-powered interview and reduce your anxiety. Here are some tips. Find a suitable background for your interview. Make sure that you don't have any distractions. Speak clearly, include essential keywords. To find keywords, check out the job description and the company's career page on their website. Don't forget about nonverbal cues, since AI software can draw conclusions by analyzing your body language and posture. It's important to observe body language etiquette like you would in a person interview. Do a trial run by recording yourself. Practice makes perfect, and the only way to know what mistakes you would make in AI-powered interview is to record yourself and then watch and see what you're doing right or wrong. Dress the part for your interview. The general rule of thumb for dressing up for AI-powered interviews entails going business casual with plain colored clothes. If you have any questions about AI-powered interviews, also feel free to schedule an appointment with us, and we will be happy to help with that. How to dress for a job interview. First impressions matter. Regardless how you identify, the key of appropriate dress to find clothing that fits you properly and looks polished and professional. You should choose clothes that make you feel comfortable and confident. Research the office dress code. Before choosing an interview outfit, research the company's culture and see how formal their workplace is. Formal business environment, typically it's wearing professional or business attire. Casual business environment, if you have a job interview in a more informal work environment, you might wear a business casual outfit. Casual environment, if a company does have a standard uniform, try mimicking that uniform. And it's important to make a good impression and show that you have put effort into your interview preparation. When in doubt, dress up a little bit. Dress codes vary. For example, a tech startup company in Silicon Valley might frown on someone who dresses too formally, while a Fortune 500 company on a Madison Avenue might frown on someone who dresses too casually. It's important to get a sense of the corporate culture before you head out to the interview. So make sure that your interview attire is appropriate. Types of interview questions. In this section, we will cover traditional questions, behavioral, case questions, and brain teaser questions. And let's start with some traditional questions. Those are most common questions that employers are likely to ask. Those are common questions about your experiences, your background, and skills. Practicing the answers to these questions will help you be more confident during the interview. Since these interview questions are so common, they kind of expect you to be able to answer those smoothly and effectively. Some of the examples include, tell me about yourself, why do you want to work in this company, why you're interested in this position, why did you choose this career, why you're the best fit for this job, why do you want this job, how has your experience prepared you for this position, what do you consider your greatest strengths and weaknesses, and how do you handle stress, for example. Some of the tips: review most common interview questions and sample answers, and then prepare your responses. Practice those interview responses with one of our career consultants, or record yourself to watch how you do with those interview questions. Remember that it's crucial to demonstrate that you're the best candidate for the job, and for that, take some time beforehand to thoroughly research the company, its products, services, culture, and mission. Be specific about what makes you the best fit for this role. Mention the aspects of the company and the position that appeal to you most. Explain how your experience will help the employer if you were to be hired. Decoding interview questions. Those are the decoding of most common questions, but you can find more of those on our website in the interview guide. So for example, if they ask you, tell me about yourself, this is the question for them to understand whether you will be a good fit for this position. Also, it kind of gives you a chance to ease into the interview process and provide context to the experiences that outline in the resume. So for that, definitely briefly summarize the past few years of your experiences in two, three themes related to the role in the organization. It's very important to talk about the relevant information from your background to show that you will be the best fit for this position. If they ask you, why do you want to work for this organization? It's definitely important to understand what they want to hear by asking this question. They want to see that you did some research and you understand you understand the information about this company. So definitely it's good to prepare. It's good to understand what are the products or services that they do, what kind of mission, goals, and culture that they have. So definitely beforehand prepare and be ready to answer that question. If they ask you about what are greatest weaknesses, they do want you to be honest. So it's best not to utilize your strength as your weaknesses, and definitely be honest and clear about your weaknesses. It's fine to have weaknesses. Everyone has weaknesses, and they expect you to be honest about those. So for example, if you don't have enough knowledge of specific technology, you can utilize that, but you can also show that you are willing to learn those and you are a quick learner. So definitely prepare for that question and be honest. If they ask you what your greatest strength, it's also important to stay relevant to the job description, to the role that you're applying for. So definitely prepare using the keywords from the job description, and utilize those when you're preparing for this question. So definitely utilize some of the examples, talk about those, how you develop those skills or how you improve those skills. The key is to stay relevant. Behavioral questions. Those are very common questions, and a lot of the students I work with are having a hard time answering those. But it's important to understand that there are some guidelines which you can utilize to be successful in those interview questions. Some of the examples might include: tell me about a time when you had to work with someone whose personality was very different from your own. Give me an example of a time when you faced a conflict at work. Describe a time when you had to step up and demonstrate your leadership skills. Give me an example when you didn't meet client expectations. Tell me about a time when you made a mistake or when you failed. Tell me about a time when you accomplished something. Tell me about a time when you had to think on your feet. So for those questions, it's important to utilize STAR formula, and I'll talk more about that soon. But some of the tips, it's also important to keep your answer concise and relevant to the question. And for that, STAR formula is very helpful. Prepare stories based on the job description in advance. Come up with 2, 3, 5 go-to stories that you would be able to utilize. Practice articulating the answers before your real interview. Record yourself. Improve your interview skills by scheduling a mock interview with a career consultant. And this is more about the STAR interview technique. How to use the STAR interview technique. The STAR interview method is a technique that you can use to prepare for behavioral questions. How does it work? The STAR method helps you to create the easy-to-follow story with a clear conflict resolution. Here's each part of this technique means. So the S stands for situation, so you will need to describe the context, describe situation that you were in. The next one is task, describe the task that you had to do. Highlight the challenges that you had. The next one is action, describe the action that you took. For example, highlighting the teamwork or leadership skills that you were able to utilize. And then the result, describe the result or the outcome that you had with your actions. It's also very important to focus on the result, especially if the question is, for example, tell me about a time when you failed or made a mistake. So you can kind of focus on what you learned from this mistake or from this failure as well. And this is an example from Indeed. So share an example of a time when you faced a difficult problem at work. How did you solve this problem? So we start with situation. I was working as a retail manager at a department store during the prom season. A customer purchased a dress online and had it delivered to the store. One of my associates accidentally put the dress out on the floor. We or another customer immediately purchased it. Then we go to the task. I knew I needed to make this right for the customer to meet my own service level standards and to uphold the reputation of the company. Then we move to the action. Before calling the customers to let her know about the mistake, I located the same dress at another store location nearby. I ordered to be pressed and delivered to her home the morning of the prom, along with the gift card to thank her for understanding. And the result, the customer was so thankful, she wrote us a 5-star review on several review websites. Case questions. If you're applying for a position as a management consultant or related job, you will likely be required to participate in a case interview. A case interview is a type of interview in which the candidate is presented with a business situation and asked to provide a solution for managing the situation. These types of interviews are used to determine a candidate's analytical ability and problem-solving skills. While preparing for this job interview, it's very important to understand the job search process. Case interviews often require extra preparation time to be successfully completed. Some of the examples: a client of a company is a hotel located in New York City. The primary customer base is up mostly foreign tourists. What are some factors that these customers would seek out in a hotel? What are the influences may affect their decision to stay in the client's hotel? Or, for example, how many cars are sold in New York City each year? Or, for example, ABC company is considering purchasing competitors company. Would this be a wise decision for ABC company? Or, for example, a business owner has recently opened their offices to the public and is currently making decision as what type of product to put in the restroom for customers to dry their hands with. What kind of consideration the company should have? Or, for example, how would you redesign the Bank of America app to make it more user-friendly? Some of the tips: the interview questions might be different, so it's important to understand some of the general tips. The first one is take notes. Taking notes while receiving the information that is relevant to the case interview question is important. It's important to understand that and to ensure that you don't miss any valuable information. You should also try to rephrase the question to make sure that you fully understand what has been asked, to take any notes or issues that you feel you will need to ask more about. As well, ask questions. It's okay to ask questions, and a lot of the students I worked with, they were hesitant about that. But many interviews actually expect the candidates to ask follow-up questions. So don't be afraid to ask questions, which will be helpful for you to determine the best possible solution. Structure your answer. Having a well-structured answer is almost as important as providing the correct answer. Structuring your answer in a way that is easily understandable shows that you can communicate your ideas. It also can show the interviewer that how did you come to this conclusion, which is as important component as the answer as well. Technical interview questions. A technical interview is a job interview for any position that relates to the tech industry. During the technical interview, the interviewer will assess your technical knowledge, skills, abilities as they relate to the needs of the specific job that you're applying to. In addition to assessing your technical knowledge and skills, they will also be looking for how did you come up with this solution and how you can present it. Some of the examples might include: what coding language are you most comfortable with? When is it appropriate to denormalize database design? What is the role of the continuous integration systems in the automated build process? Some of the tips: explain your reasoning. Many technical interview questions have a specific correct answer. This means that you need to find a way to make the answer stand out from the other answers provided by other candidates. Explaining your problem-solving process and the logic that you used can help you stand out as a stronger candidate. Know different methods for solving a problem. Some technical questions have several answers that could be correct. So when answering a question that has several possible scenarios for arriving at a solution, explain your problem-solving process and make sure that you clearly communicate that. Ask for clarification if needed. If the interviewer asks you a question and you need additional information to properly answer that, it's okay to ask for clarification. This will show the interviewer that you have the ability to identify when additional information is needed. So don't be afraid to ask for follow-up questions. Elaborate on answers that you don't know. A lot of students I worked with, if they don't have the answer to the specific question, they just freeze. But it's important to understand that it's okay not to have the answer. What is more important is to show the employer, the potential employer, how you would come up with this solution if you were presented with this problem at work. So showcase what are the different steps that you would take. For example, what kind of additional information you would seek, who you would ask for help, and what kind of steps that you would take to solve this problem. And be prepared to prove your skills. Many technical interviews include an aspect where you're asked to prove your skills through a series of brain teasers, whiteboard coding challenges, or remote coding assignments. While this phase typically occurs during the second or third interview, it's important to be prepared at least one brain teaser question during the first round of interview. With these questions, it's important to remember that you talk them through the reasoning process and explain the steps that you're taking to answer this question. And the brain teaser questions. A lot of students, when they see those questions, they just freeze and not sure how to answer those. But it's important to understand that with those questions, answers are typically not the most important part, but the most important part is how you reach this answer. So some of the examples for you. For example, how many tennis balls fit in the airplane? What is the sum of the numbers from 1 to 100? Why the things are the way they are. Or for example, explain the internet to someone who has just come out of coma after 30 years. Or for example, manage unlikely problem. How would you test a calculator? Some of the tips. Remember that the correct answer typically is not the main reason for asking this question. The purpose is to learn how you think and how you handle pressure. Take a moment to carefully consider a question. It's totally fine to take some time to think about it. Ask for any follow-up questions, make sure that you understand the question and show that you're capable of solving the problem creatively. So walk them through your thinking process. And the best questions to ask about the job. At the end of the interview, typically there will be space for you to ask questions. And one of the mistakes that a lot of students make are saying that they don't have any questions. This is important to still be sure that you do have some questions to ask them to show your interest. So some of the examples might be, what are the typical day or week looks like in this role? What are the most immediate projects that I will need to be working on? What are the attributes that someone needs to have in order to be successful in this role? You can ask about the team culture, the company culture. You can ask about the biggest challenges that someone in this role would face. Or for example, how does this position contribute to the company overall? And the final topic that I want to cover in this video is 10 job interview mistakes. The first one is dressing inappropriately. When you interview for a job, it's crucial to look professional and polished. Although your attire may vary based on the position that you're applying for, it's important to look well dressed no matter what is the company. Arriving late. First impressions matter, and arriving late not only suggests poor time management skills, but also shows a lack of respect for the company and the position. Bringing a drink with you. Having a drink in front of you creates the opportunity for distraction, so be mindful of that. Using your phone during the interview. Before you get to your interview, silence your phone. Texting during your interview is not only rude, but also it's a clear message that getting this job is not your first priority. Not knowing anything about the company. What do you know about our company? It's one of the easiest questions to ace, if only you do some research beforehand. Fuzzy resume facts. Make sure that you review the information on your resume before your interview. It can be also helpful to keep a copy of your resume for yourself to refer to during the interview. Of course, the more truthful you are in your resume, the better you will be able to discuss your past experiences during your interview. Not paying attention. Make sure that you're well rested, alert, and prepared. Getting distracted and missing a question looks bad on your part. If you don't pay attention, your potential employer will wonder how you will be able to stay focused during a day on the job if you can't even focus during one interview. Talking too much. If you finish making your point, stop. Don't ramble. Not being prepared to answer questions. Be prepared to answer the most frequently asked interview questions and practice. And bad-mouthing your past employers. Don't make this mistake of bad-mouthing your boss or co-workers. It's sometimes a smaller world than you think, and you don't know who your interviewer might know. And how to make an appointment with. Remember that we are here to help you. If you want to schedule an appointment with one of our career consultants, you can go to Handshake, click Career Center at the top right, click on appointments, and then schedule an appointment. Thank you so much for watching this video and have a great day.